Welcome to Chamber Exchange, a TV show. My name's Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Chamber Exchange, a TV show, is an opportunity for us to bring on chamber members and others in the community who are focused on economic development and growth in central Massachusetts. I want to thank the show sponsors who helped make it happen, St. Vincent Hospital and Bank Hometown. And I'm pleased to have with us in our first segment somebody who is in the middle of a lot of economic development growth. Permitting is Joshua Lee Smith, who's an attorney at Bowditch, a local longtime law firm and institution in Worcester. Josh, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, and we just moved down the street. So
I know. I just want you to tell us about that.
We were in the same building, and then
311 Main Street, kind of a
311 Main Street for decades. We love the historic building, but it was time for us to go to where I think the chamber was at the Synergy building.
At one point prior to 446 Main Street, the Glass Tower, as many people refer to it. We had been tenants with the previous landlord, but David Graney and Synergy Investments acquired that, have done a phenomenal job reinvesting in that 50-year-old plus building, and Bowditch is now a new tenant.
Yeah. So we traded places. Shameless plug. So we're on the 10th and 11th floors, and we're regrowing the Worcester office. As is no secret, there were some departures, but our firm is growing, and we are hiring. We've still got our Boston office, Framingham office as well, and our Plymouth office. So anyone looking to join the firm, please reach out.
Reach out and learn. So you're in a particular field of law, Josh, and you work with companies that are growing, expanding, or permitting. Why don't you kind of give a little background of the work that you do?
So I'm a little bit atypical in that when I graduated law school in 2005, and I had actually did a summer clerkship with Bowditch in 2004. I was fortunate enough to get hired, fortunate enough to have a good economic cycle where they were actually hiring law students still coming out of school, and I never looked back. So 2005, I've been there for 20 years now, had a couple of really great mentors, Bob Longden, who I know you worked with very closely, Bob Sudmeyer, Paul Bauer. We've got a great team. My practice area is real estate and environmental. So as you can imagine, it's my specific practice is sort of split between transactional and permitting, as you said, land use. It's probably over the years it's been shifted a little bit less towards transactional and more towards permitting. I do a lot of work for public utility companies. Couple of infamous ones that I know the chamber has.
Occasionally, the chamber has to, on behalf of our members in the mission of economic development, exchange.
But
have pointed exchanges with some of our utilities.
Absolutely, but they'll go unnamed. Yes. But they all go into the mix when it comes to development.
Right.
They all play a role. So certainly, the public utilities have been keeping me busy over that 20 years, the ebbs and flows of the economy, recessions, 2008, et cetera. It's good to have a mix of different types of clients. So beyond public utility, we've obviously been very much involved with large-scale multifamily projects.
Right.
And a lot of those projects, when you're talking about gateway cities like Worcester, a lot of those projects are in a downtown urban core area where it's not only residential but mixed use. So you've got restaurants that you're trying to have as part of your ground floor, retail, other commercial types of establishments. And Worcester is unique in that it's the second largest city in New England. It's got a sort of a more metropolitan downtown core with a wide variety of different types of folks that operate down there, from hospitals, eds and meds, offices, lawyers, et cetera. But then you've got the sort of suburban areas as well that are, where I live. I live in Westboro. It's you would think you're in just any other town. So we handle developments that are in those downtown urban core areas as well as in the outskirts of the suburban areas as well. I do a lot in the city of Worcester. That is definitely my home base.
So that involves you're in front of the different boards and commissions, sometimes the council, trying to get various things appropriately permitted so they can move forward.
Absolutely. Working very closely with city staff and city officials, ward counselors, and then obviously interacting with the boards themselves, boards, commissions, et cetera. But it goes beyond that too. A lot of the larger projects that you see, the more successful projects that you see, the ones that make the news are those that are really public-private partnerships and have a lot of hands in them to make those projects happen. At the local level, at the state level, at the local level, clearly working with yourself, Darnell Dunn, government relations, the chamber, WBDC, in order to make these projects really
Right, because one of the challenges in Worcester is the cost of construction is similar to that of the greater Boston area, but the fact of the matter is rents, whether it be on the commercial industrial side or on the residential side, are not as high, thankfully, as they are in the greater Boston area, but that sometimes makes a project harder to pencil out, meaning it's got to make money, and sometimes people don't understand that, you know, a developer, an investor is looking to build a building or rehab a building, they've got to go to a bank or get investors to give them money, and we're going to, like a bank loan for a car or a home, they're going to make sure that the project is going to there's going to be a return on investment. So that's where construction costs and a lot of the state tax credits, federal tax credits all come into play, and you help kind of shepherd that through on behalf of clients.
Yeah, it all goes into the mix. These projects have to pencil out, and there are a lot of economic factors, microeconomic factors that are beyond all of our control. You mentioned construction costs. That's a creature of interest rates and supply chain and materials, labor shortage supplies,
tariffs
issues, and
Yeah,
now tariffs, which is a real thing. It's a real thing when people are going through the numbers and then they need to do value engineering to contract a project because costs have unexpectedly gone up. And you know, the city is good in a lot of ways. One way, however, when you're going through those periods where you've got high interest rates, high inflation, and a lot of those barriers, and you cannot break ground, the city is good in that typically they will extend those projects.
In terms of if you've received your appropriate approvals and permits, they do expire at some point, and the city can give you an extension.
They routinely will give you an extension, oftentimes without condition. And I'll say that the state legislature doesn't always get the best rap on what they do, but the Permit Extension Act is a real thing. And as you know, over time during COVID, there was something similar to that allowed permits to extend to avoid lapsing, which was a huge piece of legislation to allow some of these developers that probably would have had to have walked away.
Right.
And their soft costs would be gone.
And what is a soft cost? That's the engineering, kind of the architectural, legal.
All exactly.
Right.
Legal, architectural, civil, just time and effort, opportunity costs of going after other developments in other communities. It's tough to walk away. But to be able to, having those permits in hand gives value to a property. And you can collateralize that. But the city's been good in being patient, and they understand. They're pragmatic in a lot of ways. They know what the reality is.
So Josh, just as two lawyers talking here for a moment, you also mentioned transactional law. So that is, in layperson's terms, buying and selling, correct? Conveying property.
Layman's terms, yes. Buying, selling, financing, certainly. And the permitting, the land use, the development projects, and the financing absolutely go hand in hand. So where I was talking before about allowing that time for projects to continue, you got to work with a good bank and a set of investors that also equally have that patience. But it all comes down to, again, making these projects pencil out.
Right.
And you had mentioned before, some of the tax incentives, government subsidies, some of the larger projects that we've seen in Worcester could simply never have happened, but for the government having these programs. And Worcester has certainly, I think, taken that by the reins and encouraged and promoted developers to come here, because oftentimes, in order to get even those state incentives, you have to have local support. And time and time again, I think, certainly when it comes to housing, but also I think life science, I'd say as well.
Yeah.
The city has got a lot of developers backing.
Got it. Well, we're just out of time. If people want to have a conversation with you at Bowditch or learn more about Bowditch, where can they, the law firm, where can they go?
Again, we're 446 Main Street, 10th, 11th floors.
Got to have a website,
Joshua
right?
Lee Smith. Bowditch.com.
Bowditch.com.
Can't be easier than that.
All right, sounds good. Josh, great to have you on.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
As always, great to see you.
All right, good.
Thanks.
We're going to come right back for our next segment with Julie Fitzgerald.
These days, you've got your hands full in life. That's why we help you bank simply and securely with tools like Face ID and Touch ID. It's why we make it easy to make purchases on the go and get cash back while you're at it. Why we help you quickly deposit checks wherever you are. And it's why we lend a hand with sending and receiving money right from your phone. So even when you're on the move, you can manage your finances. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.